Hi everyone. The coefficient of the term in x squared in the binomial expansion of 1 plus 3x raised to the nth power is 495. And we need to find the value of n. So basically we're using this formula here, which in the calculator would be n choose r. We are going to use n choose r like that. It saves some space. And find the value of n right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is set this up. This would be, since we're looking for x squared and we only have one x, that means r is going to be 2. And I'll show you why. So you have n choose r 1. I'm using this formula. Oops. Using this formula. So we have our b is 3x to the r, and this is n minus r. We want x squared. So basically, to get a 2 here for our x, r must be 2. So I know my r is 2, so I'm going to fill that in. So I have n choose r times 1 to the n minus 2. This is 2. And then we have 3x to the 2 power. So that's going to give us our x squared. Now, I'm going to look at this part right here. This part right here, whatever n is, this answer is going to be 1. So I'm going to ignore this. Ignore. Because it doesn't matter what the n is going to be. It's going to be 1 times whatever we get. So that's just kind of extra stuff. So when I take care of this, I get 9x squared. Oops. 9x squared. And we're going to have n choose 2. Now we don't need the x squared because we already know that that's going to be our term. So what we really have is 9 times n choose r. Because this equals x squared, so those x squareds would cancel. So let's look at that. We have 9 times n choose r. Now let's look at what n choose r really is. So whether you look at it this way or this way, n choose r, and I'll write it this way, equals n factorial divided by n minus r factorial times r factorial. Now I know my r is 2, so we have n factorial divided by n minus 2 factorial times 2 factorial. And 2 factorial just equals 2, because that's 2 times 1. So we know that equals 2. Now, just looking at this, let's just say our n, let's pretend our n equals 8. If our n is 8, we'd have n factorial divided by 8 minus 2 factorial times 2 factorial. So this would be 6 factorial. So what you'd have is 8 factorial. 8 times 7 times 6 factorial over 6 factorial times 2. And what's going to happen is these are going to cancel. So you're only going to have 2 terms there, which is n times n minus 1, depending on what our n is, because of the 2. So any number you put in for n, it's always going to be n times n minus 1, because these 2 terms will cancel and you're still left with that 2. So that's how I'm going to write this. That's going to be 9 times n minus 1 divided by 2 equals 495. We already know that this is the term, the coefficient of the x squared term. Now simplifying this, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2/9. So we're left with this, and you get n squared minus n equals 110. All right, so now we want to write that as n, what's actually 9 times n, well, okay, so we got n squared, I already did 2 steps, n squared minus n equals 110. So move that over since it's quadratic in form, and we're going to factor this, set it to 0, n, and we need negative 110 and a negative 1. So the two numbers have to be 1 apart from each other. So that's going to be negative 11 and 10. So that's minus 11 and plus 10 equals 0. So our n has to be positive. So this is n equals 11. This one's n equals negative 10. So we disregard that, and our answer would be then n equals 11. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.